In the past, women were considered housewives, housekeepers, and many other things denied any opportunity. Today we are great witnesses of the transition from the kitchen to the big offices and places of great responsibilities. Now Record TV has brought you a show, Her Moment, going to awaken, motivate, and inspire all women out there every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. only on Record TV.
Welcome back to this episode of Her Moment. We are glad you're still with us. For those joining us for the very first time, or those that didn't get to watch our very first part, we just will briefly take you through what we've been talking about. We've been talking about some of the challenges that women are facing currently and also how to sort them. But should also reintroduce my guest who is MAGGIE KIGOZI, and to some people will refer to her as the mother of our rapper Navio. But there is so much more behind this wonderful woman who has made it upon herself to do things that sometimes men believe are for them are not for the women, because the women are the weaker sex and then they are not supposed to have bigger positions. But right now, as we talk, she holds one of the good positions that you could ever want to be a director or be a CEO. It is something that every young girl would aspire to have. But she said that as young girls, you should be willing to work hard. You should be willing to go through the steps. Don't be overly ambitious, because most of us are. We just want to quickly shoot up and just become the CEO or just become the director, but you should be willing to go through the steps and also achieve what you really want slowly, because things don't come easy. So let's continue to dive into this wonderful mother that of course has had a chance to raise her beautiful children alone due to circumstances that are very unavoidable. But I should re-emphasize that her children are doing well. She's doing okay. She's very confident, very happy, working hard, and still pushing on. So Maggie, let's dive into your children's life.
Yes.
How do you manage to be a single parent?
Yes, it is choices. It is choices. So I have 3 children. One was born here, where I was doing internship at Makerere, and one was born in Zambia, my daughter, and Navio was born in Nairobi. Yes, so they could hold any passport that they want, but they are Ugandan and proudly so. So yes, my first thing when my husband passed was, how do I get my children through the same schools they were used to? Mm-hmm. So we had lived in Kenya, so they were at school in Kenya, and now it was the choice. As a medical doctor, I would have to bring them back. Mm-hmm. I would have to put them in cheaper schools. So that's when the decision was obvious. Let me go and try to do what my husband was doing. So I moved, I stopped my medical practice. I was actually working at Parliament. I was looking after all your ministers and all your permanent secretaries and the army, senior officers of the army. So you can imagine the kind of networks I had over there. Great networks, useful networks. But I left that and went to try and work at Crown Beverages, Pepsi Cola. It was very young, had been privatized just 2 years before. We had very little production. The market was not very big. Ugandans did not have much money at that time to buy soft drinks. But so that was my challenge now as I went into the business, that I wanted to be able to earn a good salary and keep my kids in good schools. Basically, that was the bottom line. So I went over. Yes, I was asked, what do you know? And the answer was absolutely nothing, 0. So to the parents out there, those of you who have partners, husbands, or wives doing some business, please find out about it. Don't be like me. I learned the hard way. I had not shown any interest.
Sometimes also the men will say no.
Yes.
Don't ask me, just be there, be here. So that is also a challenge that women face in regards to knowing what their husbands are doing.
I must say my husband was different. He really was interested in sharing, and I was so busy. I was a full-time doctor. I had kids. Some of them were in Kenya, and I was also a sportswoman, so I was busy playing my squash. So I'm the one who didn't actually take time to understand the business. And I regret that. I really regretted that. But yes, so luckily, and this is another thing, if you are learning from me as parents, have you got a will? Yeah, it doesn't matter that you're still very young. You never know at what time you are going to meet your maker. So please write a will. That really helped me. My husband left a will, clearly saying where his property should go. And that was to me and the kids. So when I went to the company, I said, well, I'm here. They say, what do you know? And I said, I don't know anything. But I'm here. And his partners were good friends. I played tennis. I used to play squash with the chairman. So he knew me. He knew I was a doctor. He knew, I was a very good squash player. Beat him many times. So he thought it very big. Yes. And both my partners were out of the country still. They had not come back. So my husband was the one who was here, who was running the business. So it was nice to have a shareholder who was actually in the business. So they welcomed me, and I went there and started learning. Yeah. And so was able to also maintain my kids in the schools they were used to. So Freddie was in university. Was going to university at that time. He finished a few years later and came back. Did work in Australia, eventually came back here. My daughter went to medical school as well in the UK. And I got a lot of, she's an intensivist, she did anesthesia and a whole load of other things. So she eventually then she was working in the UK, got a job in Abu Dhabi. They're well paid, the hospitals are beautiful, she's happy there. And she's married now, so her husband works there as well. So she loves her profession, that's for her.
Did you inspire that passion for?
I inspired the passion probably, but for me, I also needed the money. Yes, so I did tell her while she was going for it that I think you will be poor for the rest of your life. Doctors do tend to not earn very much. So that's what I advised her, but for her it's a passion. She wants to make people well. So she did. And for her, she was able to find the money as well, because they do pay well in the UK, they do pay well in Abu Dhabi. So she got both worlds. But what I would really love is for her to come and treat Ugandans. So it's still a dream that she'll be able to come back and work here. Navi, of course, Navi. Navi started rapping very early. At 13, he already was doing something, and we had that discussion. And he was already receiving awards, all kinds of awards at a very young age. As clear cut, they had this group of young boys and did a song with Juliana. The next thing I know, they're off to all kinds of countries, South Africa and wherever, getting awards. I said, okay, this is more serious than you thought. I thought. Of course, it comes from his father's side of the family. They're the musicians, we are the sports people. So his father would, I think, have been very happy about it. So we made a deal. And to parents, don't stop your children's talent. Don't stop it. If they have a talent, support it. But I also wanted him to get a degree. Whether it was in the music that he was doing or whatever, I didn't mind, but I didn't think my child should be around without a degree. So yes, he didn't do music, but he did ICT and in international relations. And when he came back, handed me my degree. I went for the graduation, so that's where I got my degree. And he has never actually wanted a copy of it, has never applied for a job with it. It really is my degree. So maybe we wasted his time. I'm not too sure, but I think he's better able to do what he does with the education that he got. He's useful even in the music industry. You can see from his behavior, from the way he meets other people, he deals with other people. He's not the beefing kind, he's not the fighting kind, whereas some of his friends maybe are. So the education was useful. Yeah. So he does have a degree. When he came back, that was our deal. We shall help you. So his brother then started managing him, and we were able to start a business and push him. We are shareholders.
Your shareholders.
Yes, in his business.
It is music.
He is our product. In very much the same way as a bottle of Pepsi is our product in Pepsi Cola. Okay. So Navio is the product of NAFCO, which is the company.
So anyway, you were a single parent,
yes,
having to take care of 3 kids,
yes,
and then you have a job, you have to look for money to make ends meet.
Yes.
How did you, plan all that? How did you manage to play all those different roles that you go? And remember, when you joined the Crown Beverages, you didn't know much about the company. So how did you manage to fit in and quickly adjust to the situation?
Well, the first thing I did when I got to Crown Beverages was identify that I didn't know. I think sometimes you sit back and you think, I know, but I knew I didn't know. So I looked for knowledge. So Professor Balunya was a friend in Makerere, Kamas. I had short courses that you could do, yes. Just 2 weeks, 1 week. I didn't have the time. I needed to work there and then. I didn't have the time to say, let me go and do an MBA. Oh, no. So I did those short courses and they were very, very useful. I also learned from everybody in the company. I listened, I learned, I attended meetings just to learn from the managers. And then I joined UMA. Mr. Mulwana was our chairman, a wonderful gentleman, and I learned so much from him, but also from all the other board members. He put me in charge of the sector committee, where I learned about the issues that private sector faces with government. Now, with that, the job for now, the company was okay. We had brought it from where it was growing, we had partners, so they didn't, when you're a shareholder, you don't need to be around all the time. If you have a good manager, let the manager manage, you come in for board meetings. So at that time, I said, what can I do now? Uganda Investment Authority put out an advert for an executive director. I applied for that. I've got all the skills, I've got all the networks, I knew so much about the private sector, and they were looking, the advert clearly stated they needed someone with private sector experience. A lot of our people have the economics they have, but they did not have the private sector experience that I had. So that stood me in good stead, and I got the job. I got the job, and I worked there for 11 years, 11 and a half years. Beautiful job that was. That really is an exciting place to work. Every day there's something new. Every day you meet new people. Every day you meet very important people, CEOs of companies, presidents. Met, how many presidents have we met? Too many. Traveled all over the world. So that was a very interesting job. And luckily my children were now a little bigger. Navio was in boarding school. So I didn't have to manage too much. Once I got him at the school, once I got the others at the universities, I had the time. By the time I got to the work at the Uganda Investment Authority, I was more free. I could then focus and do my job really well.
So what strategies, or for you, you were lucky that your children were a bit older.
Yes.
So you managed to send them to school, boarding school and maybe university, and also because maybe your children were not troublesome.
They were crazy.
Because sometimes children, we can be a bit too much.
Yes.
We can be too much. To the parents that are probably watching us, to the single moms that would probably be watching us right now, what is that one thing you can tell them that could inspire them to keep pushing on, so that they don't give up on their children, they don't give up on their jobs.
Right. Yes, that balance is difficult, but maybe to the moms, it is in stages. It is in stages. There will come a time when you will be free. You will be free to then aim for that CEO job that you think you deserve. But maybe lower down, focus. For me, my priorities were never questionable. The number one, the most important thing in my life is my children. It's my children. It's not my husband, it's not my job, it is my children. So I do everything to make my children comfortable. I used to. They are not children anymore, so right now. They don't really need any care at all, they're fine. But at that time, so when they were younger, they got 100% of my attention. So I could never have made CEO when they were still very young. It's only after they grow up. And they do grow up. And when one looks at 10 years and thinks, oh my God, you mean I have to wait for 10 years to achieve that? 10 years flies. It really does.
So fast.
It flies. So don't look at time. Give your children the attention they deserve when they need it. Because very soon they will not need it. And then you are the one who's free and you're there and you want it.
They're also busy.
They're very busy, they have their own children. So, but when they need it, give it to them. And don't be too ambitious on the job. You can find solutions. And now that I talk to so many women who have succeeded, for me, it was me personally with my children. The others are able to find solutions. We talked to a lady recently, she presented at Strasbourg, and she says, what makes a male become CEO very easily is because he has a wife. He has a wife who does those little things, those annoying little things, like go to market, go to the children's swimming competition, pick the kids, drop the kids. He has a wife. So for him, he can focus on the job and he can strategize and he can go away for a week. It's fine. You can't. But she says, don't tell me you can't. You can. Can you find your network that makes it possible? Is it your mother? Me, it's my nieces right now. I have loads of nieces. And yes, I have grandchildren, so I'm a mother again almost. I look after Navio's two bigger kids. So I have nieces. I can always depend on them to do the picking, to do the homework, I also have this fantastic, I don't know whether to call her nanny because she's more, she's more like a mother. I have Annette. Annette's been with me since 1986. And she actually looked after Navio and she's now looking after the kids. So because I trust her 100%, I can go. I've just been to the Philippines for a whole week. No problem. And it will make sure the kids are fine. And of course, she has had my nieces and nephews and brothers, and yeah, she can call people.
So you just talked about a nanny.
Yes.
Now also parents, currently women specifically, they're leaving their children in the hands of nannies.
Yes.
And it's also a big challenge because you go to work, you come back home, you don't know if your child did her homework, you don't know if she ate or if she was beaten at school or if she's happy. You just trust the child to a nanny.
Okay.
Yeah, that is also a big challenge. However, you don't know how you dealt with it.
Well, like I've told you, I have this fantastic nanny. She really is fantastic and has been fantastic for Danny and my three, and now is fantastic again. So for her, I can trust her, but now she's also retiring. So this lady told us you need a nanny that you can trust. A nanny for her that drives. She's a CEO, so maybe this is not the nanny for everybody. But her nanny must be able to drive. Drop the kids, pick the kids. She must be able to do the homework. That's her nanny. Then she has another wife. She calls them wives. A personal assistant. That's her wife number 2. The one who does the diary, that does where are you supposed to be, this is what you're supposed to be doing, even does some of the research. That's the personal assistant. Wife number 2. Wife number 3, she told us, please ladies, what are you doing in the market? You've got to buy matoke. Is that your job when you're CEO material? She was fascinating. If you're planning to be CEO,
behave like it.
Please, matoke is not your job. So find who. So for her, she has the third wife. Is the cook, who knows what they went to cook the whole week. So her, she cooks on Sunday, I think. But the other days, the chef cooks. The chef goes to the market. So matoke is not her problem. Then you have time to be CEO on your job. Focus on it 100%, knowing that everything else is managed. Not that you've neglected the kids. No. When it came to the swimming, the PA would say 11 o'clock, the children are swimming. Go.
So you need to go.
You need to go. Yes, nanny is there. Wife number one is there. But you also, that one is also for you. When it comes to the kids, that one is also for you. You've got to be there. Okay? So that's how she managed. I can't say I did that. I only made sure, first of all, at the beginning, I was there. My husband was around. I could afford to be there. For Navio, in fact, I took a whole year off work. Knowing that my husband had a good job and I could do that and give him the time, which is why he has all that confidence. Yeah. We create the confidence in our children. So that's, then I had this very good nanny, lucky. But then, how is a nanny good? And how is a nanny bad? How do you treat your nanny? Are you treating her like mine? They really treat her like the mother. They are quite comfortable with her, and I treat her like that. So we eat the same food, we go the same places, we go together, and you know. So how you treat your nanny is how she
will treat your children.
Yes. So often I have seen my girls that I used to work with change a nanny every 3 months. And you say, all those women you change this year, the problem is not with them. The problem is with you. You are not a good employer. Yeah. So if you want her to give her attention, so that is how I managed by not being too ambitious. I would do my job. Yes, I was a doctor, and I would do night duties. My husband would look after the kids. Then when I was alone, I had to again rearrange my life. That's when I got the perfect nanny there. So I knew at home they're fine. Yeah. So that's.
I want us to briefly talk about the importance of network, because from your story, I can tell that networking has been very important. Yes. And I believe also women need to have that in their minds, that it is very important to have, to network actually.
Yes.
So re-echo it so that people can hear it from you.
Yes, networks start early. Your classmates, we have a WhatsApp group with my classmates.
Really?
Yes. Up to now, and you learn so much. Because each one of them was a Gayaza, each one of them has excelled wherever she is, and they're sharing and telling you some funny jokes, make you laugh. Some Jesus, things about church, and you enjoy that. And so even that, your school group, do you dope your friends? When you go to a conference, the people you meet there, do they stay your friends? The sports, those of us who were lucky to do sports, these guys, go to the golf club. I know everybody there. Not because I played golf, but because they all started off with tennis, golf, or squash or something. They are now at the golf club, and very useful people. They can open doors for you. When you're asked to volunteer, I've already talked about the Scouts. What about, I am patron of the Secretaries of Uganda, ASAPO, Association of Professional Secretaries, and do you know what network that gives me? If I want an appointment with anybody in this country, I just want to one of my members. She'll cancel all the other appointments and give it to me. Yeah, because I am patron. It's not a paid job. Help them now and then when we have some issue. That's all that I do. But the benefits are huge. Yes, so volunteer, and those are another set of NGOs. You're a woman, Sandra, you need to fight for women's rights. Our girls are mistreated. Our girls get married at the age of 10, 12, get pregnant, early marriages. So we need to fight the war for our girls. So volunteer. All those lovely NGOs that do this work. Volunteer, give them your skills, give them your media platform, which you have here, to be able to talk about their issues. Bring them. Rita Chiro is the head of our women's network. Let her come here, let her tell people. So that will be your part, your job, and you will feel really happy that you've contributed to the girls and women of Uganda. I train in entrepreneurship. I never refuse an invitation from a women's club, a girls' club, a school. I'm always there.
And maybe I should once again thank you for honoring us with your presence and also being here to talk to us and let us know some of the things that women need to hear. But before we go, before we come to the end of the show, what advice in general would you give women and young girls watching us today?
To the women and young girls, the first thing is knowledge. Knowledge is power. No, just keep on listening to Sandra when she asks keep on here, keep on learning, and you will find that knowledge that you have got, whether it's about pigs or trees or whatever, at some point it will be useful. It will make you sound intelligent and also enable you to do something. The other thing, start your business. We didn't talk business today, but jobs are difficult to find. We discussed that. You can start your business. Start small, grow your business. What do you need for your business? You need the skills. So it's something called entrepreneurship skills that you can get. So there are so many people train in entrepreneurship. You can get that. The other one, be ethical. Be ethical. Be truthful. Be reliable. Those are some things you learn in church, yes, but never let them go away from you. Because people now will begin to trust you, they begin to look up to you, and they expect you to behave a certain way. So make sure that is the way you behave.
Thank you so much. Unfortunately, we get to come to the end of this evening's episode of Her Moments. I do, however, hope we've learned something, because one thing is for me to bring people here, and another for you to pick one, two from the people that I bring. Today we've been really privileged to have a mother who has raised her 3 beautiful kids all by herself, who has had good positions in different companies and is still pushing. Yes, is a farmer, loves sports, does very many other things, volunteers in the scout here and there, and she clearly stated it that as a person, as a woman, be willing to volunteer, be willing to extend your talents, your services. But to sum it all up, she said knowledge is very important. So every single day of your life, make sure you learn something here and there, make sure you put it in your mind, because at a given point in your life, you will definitely need it. I've been your host, Sandra, and I'm glad that you've been part of this show. You've learned something, because I've learned something. So it's time for me to just say bye, and of course, I wish you a lovely evening.
In the past, women were considered housewives, housekeepers, and many other things denied any opportunity. Today we are great witnesses of the transition from the kitchen to the big offices and places of great responsibilities. Now Record TV has brought you a show, Her Moments, going to awaken, motivate, and inspire all women out there every Sunday from 5 to 6 p.m. only on Record TV.